One thing I noticed about debate content, like Myron, Charlie Kirk, and like all these other people, is they only go to colleges. And they don't debate anybody like with strong opposing ideas or with any values, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll be debating a college kid. A college kid would ask a very good question, and the person, whether it be Charlie, Myron, whatnot, would give their thoughts, what they believe is right, and the college kid would just back down, no questions asked, no rebuttal, just oh okay. They don't debate anybody of value. That's why they go to these colleges, because they're within the age range to debate and not sound stupid. You can't go to a middle school and do it, obviously, but they're not like, they don't research like they should. They're all using Chat GPT, bro. It's college. Or like you got rage baiters. Myron's a rage baiter, bro. That's why his podcast got canceled. Myron's a rage baiter. He says some crazy ass shit, and he just goes to colleges to basically get a reaction from it. That's what he does, basically. Anyways, we got debate content is wasting your time. Go ahead, leave a like my shit, subscribe, check out the playlist section. Let's get into it. I love y'all.
All right, this is what you need to do. Generally, women should be in the kitchen. Change my mind.
How about this? How about you set up a table? You put generally women should be in the kitchen on the other side.
Table up.
And then you can go ahead and do that.
We can set the table up. It ain't gonna be no argument. Everybody gonna agree with me because it's facts.
Yeah, sure. Then you could go ahead and set up a table and do that for your channel.
Do you admit there's millions of women out there that flourish pursuing their career?
That is a minority.
Do you admit that it exists though?
Bro, this nigga just here to argue, bro.
Do you admit that it exists?
Next person on, bro.
Hey, he's scared to debate me, y'all.
No,
hey,
you're making an argument for the exception and the minority.
The exception is way bigger than you think. That's all I'm saying.
See,
you acting like
what type of question is women should be in the kitchen? Changing my mind. This is a rage baiting ass post, and people feed into it. Like Charlie Kirk's Juneteenth poster. Juneteenth shouldn't be a federal holiday, and I'm on my way to work. It's obvious he's racist, bro. Same thing with his tweets about Mondani, about him being Muslim. Crazy. They're rage baiting, and everybody falls into it.
1%. It might be 10. It might be 15. It might be 20. It definitely ain't 1 in 20.
It's still the minority, bro.
Am I wrong?
It's called common sense.
Am I wrong? Lock in, bro.
It's called common sense, man.
Lock in, bro.
It's called common sense.
These are just facts, bro. I'm sorry. It's okay to be wrong sometimes. It's cool talking to you, though.
The base of his argument was you losing hoes. That's why I was like, all right, bro.
Come on, Myron. Stand in the fire. You finally met your match. Somebody who's going to give you a taste of your own medicine, and you can't even do it. But this is why I say this style of content has to be the stupidest style of content in the world. I've talked about debate style content on this channel before, and I'm very critical of specifically platforms like Jubilee, who do the one versus style of content. And honestly, it's never anything productive. It's just rage baity and clickbaity the whole time. But I'm not a fan of pretty much any debate style content on the internet, and this video is the reason why.
Spit it out.
No, well, Asians tend to have views, followed by white people, then followed by Hispanics, and then Africans tend to have the lowest.
And I can't argue with them numbers, but no IQ study is ever controlled environment.
Okay.
IQ studies, bro. Here's something they're not going to tell you about IQ studies, bro. You can even look this up. There is no, I'm gonna go ahead and say this right now. There is no difference between different races and IQs. They have done studies where they put different races, mainly black people, because they like to say black people have the lowest intelligence. They put them in the same environment as white people. Same environment. Listen, same schools, same routines, same good community, no outside factors like hunger, poverty, whatnot. Africans or African Americans, black kids, have done equally as well, if not better, than their peers. You can look this up. There is no difference. There is no difference, bro. And they love to use these crazy ass racist facts, bro, from studies done hundreds, maybe not even hundreds, maybe like 50, 60 years ago. Literally, if you put a black and a white kid in the same environment, same routine, same community, they will do equally well. I promise you, bro. And the fact he's saying this, bro, is just like, dude, these people like this have low racial self-esteem, bro. You can just tell they just want to please white people so bad, even though they're not going to get chose, bro.
Like, the conclusions aren't valid. They don't control for environment. Environment heavily affects IQ.
Now, what the young man is saying is factually true. When you do these studies or these experiments, it's something that you learn in middle school, hell, even elementary school for some people, that when you're doing some sort of experiment, there are certain variables and factors that have to take into consideration. Things like environment, things like food, things like, parents being in the household. There's so many factors to take into consideration, but the way that the internet does these sorts of conversations or debates literally just puts this broad brushstroke on the picture so they can paint their narrative however they would like. Now, Myron is smart enough to know that this is to be true, so he can't outright refute it, but he damn sure looks flustered when this is approached to him, because he's never had anybody debunking arguments so fast to say that, hey, the material that you use, these weak-ass studies, this 2001 report that you use is selective research. Now, the rest of the conversation depicts exactly what's wrong with this, as opposed to taking in that information that Myron just got
People
from
like
this.
Myron will never admit they're wrong. People like Charlie will never admit they're wrong, bro. They will never admit they're wrong at all.
Young man, the information that he probably already knew before, but decided just to leave it out. Instead of taking that in, rephrasing the statement, retracting it, or doing any sort of other configuration of a new statement, he decides to continue to push forward and fight forward in order to get his clip off.
Your argument is basically that it's not controlled for environment, so therefore it's not valid?
Exactly that. You agree? Wait, hold on. Did I just change your mind that fast?
No, you didn't.
None of those studies control for environment. You take somebody like me, for example, my environment, lead paint in the walls, lead in the water.
It's like, no, you're a human, you're able to make decision, you have will, you're able to decide what you want to do.
Him being a human being and being born into a place that has lead paint in the walls and lead in the water doesn't have anything to do with him having free will and autonomy and agency. Myron can't even be genuine in this conversation and just acknowledge that, hey, you know what? Maybe I've never thought of that before, or maybe I am wrong. My thinking here is wrong. Instead, he continues to push forward because in the nature of content that he does, he knows that there is some sort of clip to be found in this, even if it means being as egregious and disingenuous as possible whenever you're debating one of these college kids.
Do you know how to make a sandwich?
Yeah, I do. Want me to teach you?
No, thank you. That's a woman's job.
I think you mentioned you have an open relationship, but specifically on your end.
Only on my end, yeah.
So, you take the nuclear family, which
It's
is a...
only on his end, bro. Niggas who swear they're in an open relationship where they can only sleep with girls, or they're like, girl can only sleep with girls, I promise you, bro. I'm sorry to break your dreams right now. That's not happening. That's not happening. Cause trust, once you go through that phone and find out she being piped down, bro, please don't cry. The signs were in front of your face, Myron. She's fucking on you, buddy.
A loyal and faithful husband.
Only women could be sluts. We are the slut makers. This girl's over here trying to call me a slut. Hey, we're the slut makers, man. There's no such thing as a man that's a slut.
This is the nature of this content. No fact checks, just vibes, who can be the loudest, and who can say the most outrageous things that'll end up going viral on Twitter the next day. It's tired, honestly. It is extremely, extremely tired, especially when these things are posed as intellectual conversations where two people are trying to, come to some sort of conclusion, maybe get somebody to change their mind. But it's not really a change my mind, especially when you say things that are as vague as, oh, well, all women do this. And then when somebody says you should probably change the statement to more generalities, you refute even that as an option. Like, there's nothing to be gained in this but clip farming as opposed to an intellectual debate.
Either you're a Christian or you're not. Which one is it?
I could be either of them, but I don't have to tell you.
You don't have to tell me. I was under the impression I was invited to talk to a Christian. Am I not talking to a Christian?
No, you were invited to.
I think everyone should look at the title of the YouTube channel. You're probably in the wrong YouTube video.
You're really quite something, you are.
Aren't I? But you're really quite nothing. Right? You're not a Christian.
Okay, I'm done with him.
Even when presented with something that just seems to be irrefutable, or at least would have you stop, pause, and think.
Why do you look like that? Hold on.
of the YouTube channel, you're probably in the wrong YouTube video.
You're really
What happened to him, bro? Looks like too much like surgery. What the fuck? He used to look healthy back in the day, bro.
quite something. You are.
Aren't I? But you're really quite nothing, right? You're not a Christian.
Okay, I'm done with him.
Even when presented with something that just seems to be irrefutable, or at least would have you stop, pause, and think, this can't be enough for these people that participate or initiate these debates or these change your mind series. Because ultimately, it's not about, you know, the other person changing somebody's mind or even being open and available to that. It is about not looking like a jackass and winning the debate. But I think that that's even disingenuous and nasty, because why are we trying to win in some things that are conversations about things that actually have harm and actually hurt people? Instead of having a pill to swallow, Myron wants to make sure that I'm in control of this clip and we bring it back to where I want to. Because the bottom line is, I can't handle if I am being exposed in public.
These people are in different conditions. That might affect the outcome of the numbers.
Okay, look, we
Hey,
could we could
I'm
sit here.
2 for 2 right now.
Bro, you ain't 2 for nothing.
I'm
bro.
2 for
You're
2,
not 2 for
folks.
nothing, bro. Like, bro, you're not 2 for nothing, bro. Like, the reality is, you're over here saying, oh, it doesn't account for society. This is a meta-analysis between hundreds of studies on IQ from people all across the world. And what
All
they
across
found
the
is,
world in different
here's the bottom
conditions.
line, bro. Here's the bottom line. The bottom line is this: Asians score the highest, whites score second highest.
And that's another thing about Asian factors, bro. It's more apparent that Asian parents are more strict. The whole stigma of like, oh, if you get anything less than an A, you're grounded. They're forced to have good grades. They're forced to spend so much extra time into their studies, bro. They're not allowed to be kids. From the moment they open their eyes, bro, they were told, you're going to be this, you're going to do this, you're doing that. If they didn't have the highest score, it would be insane. That's like a cultural thing. They value like schooling, especially more traditional Asians that like come from Japan, China, Korea, whatnot. They value schooling more as a culture. That's not hard to realize, Myron. But we all know you're rage baiting though, so there ain't even no point in trying to like rationalize with this nigga. You know what I'm saying?
Latinos are behind them, and blacks tend to be at the bottom. Because you're literally making excuses saying, well, oh, they didn't account for this or they didn't account for that. When in reality, they probably did.
They probably did. Myron, this is your study that you're presenting. Did you even read it? You should be able to understand the nuances and the details of the realities of the reports and studies that you're bringing to the table to present as facts like you do. Or are you just reading things surface level, getting, you know, perspectives and opinions and studies on your side of the internet, you know, using targeted keyword searches only in order to further your talking point? Like, oh my God, be genuine for 1 single second. But you know what really grinds my gears about this sort of content? There's a level of disingenuousness that I learned when I watched friend of the show Saji's channel. You see, these people that get into this debate style content like Charlie Kirk usually go to college campuses and usually target freshmen and, you know, try to pose it as some sort of greater good that they're doing for society. You know, we're talking to adults and it's time to stop talking to adults like children. You know, the people that are either 17 or just turned 18 and they're freshmen on campuses and they don't really know what's going on. It's cool to get them riled up for the clip. But when I saw Saji's video and discovered how disgusting Charlie Kirk actually was, I knew that this was just to a whole different level.
Charlie Kirk has essentially built his career on going to college campuses and clip farming and embarrassing innocent college students who just want to stand up to this small-faced man. But that's not the way he frames it.
Why do you, as like a professional pundit, think it's fair to come to college campuses and debate like college freshmen? Like, doesn't that seem like kind of unfair to you?
Well, hold on. I mean, let's stop talking down to college kids. I'm talking to voters, right? Or why don't you go bring a professor and bring him up to the mic?
Okay, well...
Charlie, maybe professors aren't debating you because 1, they understand how pointless it is, and 2, you're fucking reporting them for being pro-Palestine. Turning Point USA reported on a number of college professors who have espoused blatant support for Hamas and have promoted anti-Semitic sentiment.
Turning Point USA being Charlie Kirk's nonprofit organization. These professors who are teaching at these different universities, who champion different voices and different opinions, etc., for the sake of education, now have to fear coming up to you. So you claim as if it's a safe environment for them to come up to you, but then all of a sudden you make it unsafe to the point where they are losing their jobs over these sorts of things. Charlie, let's be genuine.
I think the best advice to dealing with Charlie and Byron is just walking past him. I feel like they got a big enough face now of just rage baiting that you should know who they are to be like, yeah, no matter what facts I say, no matter what I show them, no matter what I tell them, they're still going to believe what they want to believe and try to downplay you like I'm an idiot. I said, just ignore them, bro. They're super right-wing idiots. You know what I'm saying? And that's never going to change. That's how they operate. They don't like to hear other sides. But anyways, that's enough out of me. Check the playlist section. Leave a like. And I love y'all. Peace.